Hey guys, what's up and welcome to the channel. I'm Shogun. We're going to be talking about Celine, Karen's aunt, and super hot MILF. So let's get our introduction here.
Step back if you value your life. Don't say I didn't warn you. We've met before.
First off, I would like to say that S3,
We haven't?
really good.
Something about you feels familiar.
셀리는 더 넓은 세상에서 정의를 실현하기 위해 세계를 떠도는 검사입니다. 카린의 이모이자 롤모델인 그녀는
Karen's aunt and role model.
공안부에 잠시 몸담았다고 하는데요.
I do like her lobby
학생들 사이에서
animation, just the sleepy swordsman aunt.
셀리는 자연
Okay, so first off, let's take a look at her stats. So she has self-attack imprint. She is an Earth Thief Scorpio. 1228 attack, really good. 6266 health is also pretty good. The 113 speed is not the highest for thieves, obviously, but I think that she makes up with that with a lot of power that she's going to be bringing. So health is imprint for everybody. Personally, if you get a couple of copies of her, the self-attack is probably going to be your best bet on this one. So overall, I do like the stats that she brings to the table for sure.
등급 도적입니다. 도적 중에서는 기본 공격력이 높은 편이고 각인 집중으로 공격력을 더 끌어올릴 수 있습니다.
All right, getting into her skills here.
이 스킬
Okay, so intuition. This is her S2. This is her passive. So this attacks a random enemy with blink when an enemy uses a non-attack skill. This can be activated every 2 turns, once every 2 turns. So blink cuts the enemy in the blink of an eye. When the enemy is not an elite or boss monster, damage sharing effects are ignored. So when the enemy is not an elite or boss monster, damage sharing effects are ignored. Okay, so that means that Arius doesn't matter, Eaton doesn't matter, ML Crozet doesn't matter, Seaside Belle, her passive doesn't matter. The downside to this is that it is random. So one of the big things that was talked about in the stream earlier when this was announced is this really hurts Oxlot's cleave teams, right? Because Oxlot is going to push, she's going to blink and kill somebody. Now you have a 25% chance that it's going to be the person that you want to kill. It could just kill Oxlots, and then he already did his job. Doesn't matter, you're deado. But if you, let's say, go in on the Judge Kisei, which they're going to show here in the video in a minute, that ruins their whole plan. They're going to have to kind of play around this a little bit, right? So if you do make her kind of quick and you can't turn cycle, this is going to be really big for helping to negate some of those. The other thing too is, if you think about it, this doesn't even have to be against cleave, right? Whenever DN does her DN thing, boom, this triggers. Whenever a Momo does her a Momo thing, boom, this triggers. So this is going to be really big against water teams, because a lot of water is DN, is a Momo, is Angelica. You don't see Angelica as much anymore, but a lot of teams now rely on buffs and things along those lines. So you're going to have this. And the one thing too now is, like, with counterattack, you know who it's going to hit, right? With this, who knows? Who knows? It could just go one shot, like your little squishy C dom or something like that. You don't know. You don't know who it's going to kill.
스킬을 사용하면 무작위적에게 섬광을
More RNG. Because I know how much everybody loves RNG in this game, right?
보스가 아닐 경우 피해 분배 효과를 무시합니다. 이 턴에
It does look pretty cool, though.
셀린을 상대할 때 턴을 먼저 잡았다 하더라도 공격이 아닌 스킬을 사용한다면 아군 누군가
So as you can see right there, one, it didn't bother with the Crozet, and I think that's why they showed this with Crozet, right? Because who really runs ML Crozet in a Judge Kisei cleave team? The damage sharing didn't matter whatsoever, and it just destroyed her. So great, fantastic. I think that that's really big, because now sure, the C-Dom is going to be able to S3, which, if you think about it too, if they were to just push C-Dom forward, or S3 would trigger that as well if C-Dom got somehow pushed forward without a non-combat skill. Let's say she Flitica pushed her forward, right? And then she S3s, that's going to trigger Celine's S2 as well. So this is going to be a real big anti-cleave character.
스킬 뇌광은
All right, now her S3 Thunderclap, and somebody probably somewhere is going to make a joke about clapping Celine and making regardless. This dispels all debuffs from the caster and repeatedly slashes at the enemy before triggering an explosion, Mega Man style. Increases evasion of the caster for 2 turns, recovers health proportional to the damage dealt. Now this is on a 3-turn cooldown when it's Molgord, which she's a DPS unit, so guess what, you're going to have to plus 15 her, and that's one of the downsides here. The soul burn is 10 souls and increases damage dealt, so this is really, really huge. So gets rid of debuffs, heals, 50% evasion buff for 2 turns afterwards. If you're running this with Dreamblade, that's 70% evasion. If you're running it with Violet's Talisman, that's 80% evasion after 3 turns. Real huge. If you've got an Assassin Cartusia, brush that boy up, because he's going to be real big for a lot of units that are coming up.
자신의 약할거를 모두 해제하고 적을 연속으로 뺀 후 폭발을
The fact that this dispels debuffs on a 3-turn cooldown and heals is also real big.
생명력을 회복하는데요. 약할거에 걸려 있다고 해도 먼저 모두 해제하기 때문에 회피 증가를 안
I love the flip around of the sword and then the anime sheath it back. Now, one thing to point out here is, I don't know how thick this Oxlots is, but if you take a look, it really didn't do as much as it did. Okay, so it did 12k right there, right? Increases evasion. If you take a look at how much this did to the Judge Kisei, go back. Okay, so it did about the same. The Judge Kisei is just not as thick as the Oxlots for whatever particular reason. So there is that as well. Did she have attack buff up in the first one? She did have attack up on the
먼저 잡았다 하는
first one. Okay. So they do about the same amount of damage, give or take, because I'd imagine this is plus 15, right?
범칙
Okay, so S1 attacks the enemy with a sheath. A critical hit will increase damage dealt. Now, this is real big. This is kind of like MLT area, right? So I want to know how much damage. I'm interested to see the modifiers, right? Because this is going to be real big, because obviously you're going to be building her for crit. So having that extra crit damage, I want to see how much more it does. Obviously, you're going to want to build her, speed crit. That's probably going to be your best bet.
집으로
Just Destro crit if you so that didn't do too much extra damage there, because I mean, go back.
범집으로 적을 공격합니다.
It was like, what, about
발생 시
5k, so that's about half, well, a little, about a third of what her S3 and S2 did, what her S3 did to him. I mean, that's not bad. It also doesn't look like she had attack buff there though either, so yeah, no attack buff, so that would be a lot higher if she had attack buff. So reasonable amounts of damage on that one. I definitely think that it's going to be good. I'm interested to see, like I said, run it through the calculator to see what all you're getting. Now, Secret Art Swordstorm is her artifact out of this, right? And when you have it plus 30, it has a 100% chance to grant increased attack to the caster for 1 turn when the enemy uses a non-attack skill, and this can only be activated once per turn. Now, I don't necessarily like this one, because I feel like there's other ways to get attack buff, right? I feel like Moonlight Dreamblade or a Violet's Talisman is going to be a much, much better artifact on her. Potentially like maybe Dust Devil or RNL. RNL would be really, really good, because RNL, if you get the extra turn, it's going to it's going to trigger her S2 more often. Also, unless you're me, your RNL is going to trigger quite regularly. With Secret Art Sword Storm, the it looks really good, and I know that you can combo right out the gate with the S2 on this, but again, it's one of those things where you have to have it maxed out. You have to have it plus 30 to get the 100% chance, because if it's not a 100% chance, is it really going to be worth it? Because you're not going to get it, right? If you can't get this thing maxed out plus 30, then I do feel like there are better options overall for what you can use on her.
대대로 모계를 통해 내려온 비전서입니다. 적이 공격하는 스킬 사용 시 최대 100% 확률로 자신에게 1턴간 공격력 증가를
Okay.
발생하여 이 스킬 3강을 더욱 강력.
So I do think so. Here's how I think that she is going to be used, and how I think that you're going to want to be able to gear her and put her in teams, right? So she's going to be a disruptor. She's going to be disrupting DPS, right? Because if you, let's say they slot a couple, like a buffer, maybe like 2 buffers or anything like that, it's going to be real big to put her in, because that's going to disrupt their whole game plan. You're going to be getting a lot more extra DPS out of that. Do I think that using her, well, actually, I feel like most teams bring somebody who has a non-combat skill, right? Like I said, I think this is going to be really big against Oxlot's cleave teams, because, well, even though you can't trigger a specific person, you can't have her S2 hit a specific person, it is going to disrupt their whole plan, right? Right here, you killed the Judge Kisei, right? Obviously have alternate plans around that, but you can use her as the DPS, because, I mean, in this case, if she would have killed Oxlots, right, and then they Judge Kisei, you have Elena. You also have Violet. If you would have killed the C-Dom, again, same deal. Maybe you live through it, maybe you don't. It's going to be one of those weird things. But I do think that building her for damage and speed is going to be probably your best bet on this one. You want to cycle her quite a bit and get those S2s triggering more often and getting that cooled down. I think that's going to be probably your best bet. So she's going to be a little hard to gear, and she's going to require plus 15 in the molas. She's a DPS character. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. If you want her to shine, she's going to need to be plus 15, which is going to be a little bit of a downside, obviously. But she's a super hot MILF with a katana, so do I think that you should pull for her? If you got the stuff to invest in her, absolutely. Otherwise, she's not limited, so you can get spooked by her eventually down the road. So that's overall, I do think that she's really good. I think it'll be interesting to see how she kind of shifts things up a little bit with the whole randomness that she can bring to the table. I also think that she's going to be really good against the likes of Seaside Belle, right? Because you can just come through, hit her with the S3, and she's going to be deado. But anyways, guys, that's it for Celine. I don't think they talked about much else. You're going to have her side story. She'll be coming next week. And I think that the increased evasion as well is going to be really, really big on her. And I think you're going to see more people running Oath Key. You're going to see more Lil Bets with the S3 Oath Key coming through, because evasion is a big pain. Anybody who's fought MRSA knows why MRSA is as strong as MRSA is. The heal on the S3 too is really huge to, bring back any of that chip damage. But anyways, guys, let me know what you think. Are you going to be pulling for her? I will be pulling for her. I don't have the molas for her, obviously, but I will be pulling for her. I think that she's going to be really, really good, and she might be a project. We'll see. But anyways, guys, that's it for me. I'll catch you guys on the next one. If you do like this content, as always, subscribe if you haven't, and I will catch you guys later. Take it easy, homies. Peace.
like it.